and Midwest brand is working hard. It is taking pride in what you do.
No job is too little for me, and I'm just gonna outwork any competitor, no matter where you're from.
Do work that gets noted and makes someone laugh or feel a thing or believe a thing. We can do that.
How would you market the state of Indiana or building the brand that is Get Indiana? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Before we get into the show, I need to remind you that today's episode is brought to you by my friends at NCW. You might remember when I had Dan Mattingly on the show talking about how they built a national staffing and recruiting company over the past 25 years, specializing in skilled trades. They are looking for new members to join their team. If you're looking for work in recruiting, sales, or general business operations, you need to check out teamncw.com. Not only have they been voted a top workplace by Indy Star, listed on the IBJ Fast 25, and featured on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest private growing companies in America, but I also have a personal laundry list of friends that work at NCW and absolutely love it. To learn more and check out their open roles, check out teamncw.com and tell them you heard about it on Get In during your interview. Today I'm joined by Ben Seal, head custodian and founder of the Flatland, a fiercely independent ad agency here in Indianapolis. Now, Ben built the Flatland in 2004 because he wanted to do work he liked, with people he liked, while staying focused on building strong brands through exceptional storytelling. He's a hiker, a dad, and an expert in cutting out the BS when it comes to branding. Today, we're going to be talking about the Flatland Philosophy and the story and the journey that really got them to where they are today. We're going to give you some tips on how to make brands that actually sell. And if you stay till the end, Ben's going to do a breakdown on our brand and tell us what he likes, what he dislikes, and what he would change about Get Indiana. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Dude, I'm really pumped about this one. It's going to be fun. For starters, you came in the door with some really, really cool merch. And I always say, like, company merch usually, no offense to anyone out there in the company merch biz, usually sucks. And he gave me like one of those hats, like some shirts that are like, oh my gosh, I would actually wear this. Like, this is cool. And it's like one of the shirts that make people ask, like, what is this? Like, oh, is this like an outdoor wear company? It's like, no, it's ad agency branding, you know, all that stuff. So
most merch turns into a rag you wash your car with, I feel like. So we try to create things that people would actually like, which is sort of the name of the game, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's 99% of it, right?
It is.
What got you down this career path? Where did you first want to set out to build unique brands?
I actually grew up on a farm in Indiana. I didn't come from Madison County. I went to high school in Pendleton. This is an Indiana-based local show, so I guess we can do local.
Go
yeah,
Arabians,
exactly.
baby. Come on.
Indeed. Yeah.
Okay, so grew up in Pendleton.
Yes, and I'm actually from Markleville, Indiana. So shout out to all 17 people in Markleville.
Markleville. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, most people haven't.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you're up in Madison County. You grew up on a farm, so clearly the direct career path is into advertising.
I grew up on a farm. I come from, my dad was a factory worker. My grandfather was a farmer. I didn't come from people who went to work in an office. You know, I had the opportunity to go to college. I went to Ball State. It was something that was important to my dad, especially because he didn't have that opportunity.
It was important to your dad that you leave the family farm and go to college at Ball State?
My dad was a factory worker. My grandfather was a farmer. To them, I think there are many other paths. And I think since then we've realized there's trade school. There's just getting a job. There's all these different things that you can do. But at that time for them, I think because college hadn't been a possibility, that was a goal that they set for me. And, I chose advertising because it seemed like a career I could wear shorts in, It seemed like something I wouldn't have to get dressed up for.
And then you watch Mad Men, and you're like, wait a second.
These guys are wearing suits. So that's kind of the beginning. And advertising just seemed interesting. And started studying, and it just stuck. It just fit.
What was like that first moment? Like, you're sitting in class, you're learning about advertising, and that it goes from theory and try to get an A on a course to like, oh, I want to do this for my career.
So this is not a Ball State story. I think that was a Ball State question because that's where I went. But the first time I realized I liked this advertising game, right, the creative game. It was probably 8th grade. Man, I haven't thought about this for years. So you're already asking deep penetrating questions, right? It was 8th grade, and we were studying like Greek and Roman gods, right? Mythology. And we had to create and sell a product that a Greek Roman god would endorse. And I think it was just a technique, right, to get us to remember what this god or that god was all about. I created Hades Underworld underwear. Yeah. It was made out of like 80 grit sandpaper. It was just for all eternity, uncomfortable sandpaper based underwear was the product. I just thought it was hilarious. I had fun doing it, and to realize that someone's job is to have this fun, and that fun is something that clients find value in and makes them money. That's kind of where that seed was planted. And so that was it.
Underworld underwear?
Yeah, I had no idea when I got up this morning that was what we were going to talk about.
It's funny because I feel like people have semi good ideas or are funny or can think of things like that, but never find the career path to make money doing that. For me, for example, it's I'm just fascinated by random things across the state of Indiana, and there's a lot of people that are fascinated with random things, but finding a way to make that a career path and to talk about hidden gems or these crazy silly Indiana facts that I learn about has been a winding road and a challenge. And again, like you say, growing up on a farm, did you know anyone who knew anyone who worked in advertising?
No, absolutely not. I don't have a grandparent who went past 8th grade. And the first little branch on my little SEAL family side of things to go to college. And I didn't come up having connections, but in my mind, I had something better. There was work ethic, and there was this mindset that if you're going to do it, take pride in it and do it well. And you are no better than anybody else, but nobody's any better than you. Just hold your chin up high and work hard and create something that you believe in. Honest man's pillow is his peace of mind. Kind of, I think our fellow Hoosier Johnny Mellencamp said. For me, in the long run, better than connections in an industry or connections to get clients and that kind of thing.
End up graduating from Ball State. Is your degree in advertising?
It is. It's technically journalism with a specialty in advertising. Yeah.
And so what does a recent college graduate looking to start their career in advertising, what does that look like? Where are you headed? Where are you going? What kind of job are you looking for?
I mean, just hustle gets so much done in this world. And we talk about this with clients a lot. There's a very professional technical term I use called give a shit. And if you apply some give a shit, you would be amazed where you could go. And we get applications online from people. The easy route is sending us an email and a form. But the kids who actually call, the kids who email, the kids who find you on LinkedIn and send you a message saying, "Hey, I like your shop. I'm a recent graduate. What can I do?" You would be amazed how those kids get lucky finding a job.
When you can change your mindset, they don't even know that you can be creative or go outside the box there. Because the game says oh, I should just apply here, my resume will stand out. I didn't get the Lilly internship or no, and I was I'm a failure. None of these big companies, because my resume was terrible. But I was as soon as I get them in a conversation, if I could just sit down with them, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get the thing that I want because I'm a storyteller, and they meet me in person. They're oh, this guy gives a shit and gets shit done, and that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And so it's learning. Maybe this, mom, dad, if you're listening to this and your kid is struggling to find a job, send them this little clip about, hey, go outside the box. If it says a cover letter and a resume, don't just use ChatGPT and switch some stuff out. Do one creative thing. I always love the one that's they left their shoe with the secretary because they wanted to get a foot in the door or whatever. Stuff like that is kind of corny. But there's a way to do that in a professional way to really give a shit.
Let's see. I've seen something shows up in a wooden crate. And it's all nailed shut, and separately maybe someone sends you a crowbar, and I would do anything to pry my way in here. I've seen that.
Someone's done that for you guys?
Yeah. I've seen
that
before. I've seen that before. That was when I was working at a firm way back when. But I don't even remember who it was, so I can't say for sure. The fact that they took the effort was a huge deal, and it was memorable.
So what did you do to get your foot in the door somewhere?
The very first job that I got, I went around to old record stores, and I found every copy of the ABBA album that had "Take a Chance on Me" on it, and I sent that record to everybody I could find. In those days, probably in the Yellow Pages. And, did a whole thing with it. I think impressed a couple people and pissed off a couple people.
No way. You get pissed about that?
No, they should have gotten pissed because the first iterations of this mailing had something on it that had like a little bit of glitter applied to it, and you're like, you can't mail glitter, dummy. You can't mail glitter. It comes off, right? It gets loose in the box. So you open the box and like these random bits of glitter fall in someone's lap. So that's
and they're like this.
That's great. That's a proof there that great idea can have poor execution that ruins everything. So we dialed in the product and it eventually got hired on the glitterless version.
The V2 with no glitter.
Yeah, right.
That's like a little bit of corny, but like
Totally.
the best kind. You're going to work in advertising. The whole thing is to make something memorable.
Yeah, and I had no pull. I had no connections. I had to make an impression with somebody, and that did it. And that first job was a great start for me.
I don't know all the words to that one, but I know the relative rhythm.
Yeah.
So someone took a chance on you. What year is this?
97.
Then you spend 7 years in industry before you leave in 2004 to start your company.
Probably closer to 8 when you add in the months. But yeah, I kind of learned my craft, cut my teeth at a place. And
I mean, obviously, when you get the first gig, it's just like you're a professional freshman. Like, do the work, show some give a shit, grind it out, hustle, all the things. But at what point during that did you start to think like, man, maybe I could do this a little bit different or a little bit better, and kind of get this if you look through any of their marketing, advertising stuff, like a little bit contrarian? Where did those like thoughts start to form?
Every agency needs to run its own way. And I wouldn't throw anybody under the bus. There's big agencies that are good. There are small agencies that are good, and there are, in my opinion, big ones and small ones that are not good. But it is hard for a big agency to allow craftsmanship on the things that I wanted to do anyway. And you just have to. I get it. I mean, that's the way an agency like that needs to run.
I guess I do need to dive in just a little bit because I understand it. But for some of the listeners that may just be funneling like ad agency into like marketing agency, like what was the specific kind of work that you were doing for customers in those first couple of years?
It was all over. I mean, we had retail clients and B2B clients and all those types of things. But my side of the business, in an advertising agency, you have creative people, who are doing, the ad campaigns and the ideation and all that kind of stuff. You have account service people who are managing the relationships with the clients and trying to clean up the messes that the creatives make with the clients. You have media people who are figuring out the placement of the ads, and I come from the creative side. Agencies most often not creative owned, but were more on the account service and strategy side owned. And I just wanted to create an environment where I could just really focus on my craft, right? I just wanted to do work I liked with people I liked. And I think that you've asked about the that sort of contrarian spirit. If I needed to take extra time to make something great and it cost profit, it came at the expense of profit, so be it. I had the sensation that if we stopped thinking about being profitable first and we started instead to think about being good first, that the profit would come. Probably an unpopular way to do it, and I get it, right? I mean, it's a horribly inefficient way to try to build a profitable machine, but my goal wasn't to build a profitable machine. I worked at one of those, and I wanted to just focus on my craft. I wanted to make things I feel good about, and that's why it's the Flatland. That's why it's called that, actually. It is, yeah. It's on the surface. It's about topography, right? Indiana and flat and where we're from and all those things. But it's really more about mindset for me than about topography. Factory workers and farmers and some coal mining in there, and to me, the heartland, Indiana, the Midwest, it's a spirit, right? The Midwest brand, in my opinion, is working hard. It is taking pride in what you do, and that goes for the guy in the CEO office. It goes for the guy that's swinging a hammer and driving a nail. It's do your best at the thing you do and take pride in your craft. That, to me, that spirit is what the name is about more than geography.
There is like a Midwestern or Hoosier mentality that I see from the most successful people in Indiana, of just like, you talked about a professional janitor, like no job is too little for me. And I'm just going to outwork any competitor, no matter where you're from.
Yeah, it was about hustle more than anything. When I say the name the Flatland, when I think about the Flatland, what I hear is a thank you. It's a thank you to the people whose shoulders I'm standing on, the opportunities I got, that were created for me by their hard work.
Yeah.
So that's what that's about.
What was kind of like the final domino in the agency life that led you to start the Flatland?
This is probably where I should act like I had an awesome business plan and I had this all laid out, and here is my path to the agency you see before you today. I think I just had a particularly bad day.
Yes. All right. So someone really pissed Ben off.
No, there are so many good people in this industry, in this business, and I want to only speak highly of people, but it was not about anybody else. It was about me. I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be in a different business. I liked the business. I liked the things I made. I just wanted to do it in a different way. I didn't have a client. I didn't have any money to start it. I just had a feeling that, I don't know, I'm foolish to believe if I just work hard, things will probably work out, right? Surely things will be okay.
Yeah.
So, I had young kids and I was married at the time and had responsibilities. But I felt like I needed to do it. Yeah, there was a lot of fear involved. That's part of what has made us a better fit for a certain type of client. Our DNA as an agency is in this shit better work. This better work or I am bankrupt. And that feeling of this has to work is a feeling that our clients feel. When we are best working with clients who need this to work, who invest in marketing, who spend money in marketing and need it to be an investment. They need that money to come back to them. When there's that motivation, like my job, my career, my income is tied to whether or not this works, we tend to work well with those clients because we have felt that.
And I do think that those are like two kind of distinctions where some people are like, we're investing in marketing and eventually down the road there will be an ROI versus kind of like the performance marketing where it's like, no, we're putting $5 in this. We want to get $50 out. You quit your job, you launch a company. Day one, what do we do? How do we go find a client?
Yeah, you make calls.
Who's the first one that gives you a chance? Because it's just you at the time, right?
Yeah, it's just me, and it stayed just me for a while. And really over the years, I've tried everything I can to stay small. I'm hesitant to hire because to this day, 21 years later, we don't start the year with here's our growth goals for the year. Here's the profit we have to have for the year. I do some work to make sure I can keep people paid, and I have some projections. But to me, it's disingenuous to look a client in the eye and go, "We're going to do great work for you. We believe great brands can do amazing things." And then in the back of our mind, go, okay, here's how much money we need to take and set aside for profit on this account. Now, we're going to make this account great. We're going to do great work with it, even if we have to spend more hours than we would have hoped. That's how that works.
So how big is the company today?
A whopping 6 full-timers today.
Hey,
yeah,
21 years, 6 full-timers.
It's not the size of the agency; it's the size of the results. Is something we talk about.
I agree. As I continue to grow, it's always like, how big is your team or how much revenue? And it's like, that's fair, totally fair. But I think as a one full-timer currently, actually shout out Robert, he's coming on full-time in June.
Oh, nice.
And then a lot of different hands that help me make this. It's like, well, yeah, it's like not full-time, but it's like we hit 3 million views in a month. Like, how many views? Sorry, I'm getting a little bit on my tangent here.
No, I can step out of the room.
No, yeah, right. But 6 full-time employees is like insane. It's awesome. Like, you're doing big work and you're measuring it based on impact.
Again, I'm not the product of a business school mentality. I'm just the product of maybe some self-awareness and knowing what I like and don't like and how I want to work. For me, hiring is not about peacocking. To me, hiring is making a commitment to someone that as the economy changes, if maybe a pandemic comes along, that you can keep them on staff, and then you can keep them on staff at their full salary, and that you're going to be there for them as long as they're there for you. Now, things in business happen, and there's growth, and there's contraction, and any business owner, I'm sure, just laments over having to let anyone go, and I'm not alone, I'm sure, in trying to create a certain secure environment for people, but it's something to take a lot of pride in, and I really do feel like hiring is a commitment to people, and I do it very, very hesitantly and slowly.
So, what were a few of those early customers that helped you grow and get to where you are now?
We work with some huge clients, big international brands, and we work with some small brands. Small agency doesn't necessarily mean small clients. For us, we work best with a certain mindset of client. And one of those clients for us from the very beginning has been Milto Cleaners, a dry cleaning chain on the south side of Indianapolis. And love those guys. They've let us do great work over the years. We've built nice trust with them. If you're on the south side, you know them. If you're on the north side, maybe you don't. But they've just been
pickup and delivery.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Over the years, we've developed a really good relationship with them, and they were there from almost the beginning. We worked with them in one way or another for probably 20 years.
Milto Cleaners is Central Indiana's only Sanitone certified master dry cleaner.
How about that?
Wow.
How about that?
Okay. Yeah. So those are like one of the early ones. How many locations?
They have hundreds of thousands of locations around the central Indiana area because they will come to your home for free.
There you go.
And pick up and deliver your stuff at no extra charge. They'll take it, they'll clean it, they'll bring it back. You pay the same as anybody in the store.
Send this to an Eli Lilly employee at their Delaware Street location is for Eli Lilly employees only.
Yeah.
They have a Lilly only, a Lilly only dry cleaner. That's a good
Well,
word. People come in the studio and always ask me, what's that smell? It's the Blueberry Cobbler candle from Warm Glow Candle Company in Centerville, Indiana. This is the Hoosier Candle Company. These are hand-dipped candles, hand-dipped right here in Indiana. Some of their most popular scents are Evening Mocha, Caramel Corn, Homespun Harvest, and of course, the Blueberry Cobbler. When you're driving east on I-70, you have definitely seen their huge candle and their shop where you can stop by, or you can shop online at warmglow.com, support an Indiana company, and check out Warm Glow. Now let's get back into the episode. Okay, so when we get back into it, you get Milto Cleaners. As the process went along, you talk about this mindset that you wanted to do great work with people that you like. But like, what makes it contrarian? What makes it different than the big agency? Obviously, you're not thinking through profit first, but are you bringing different approaches to your customers, or how's that working?
So in the case of Milto Cleaners, we'll use them as an example since we were chatting about them. The trust in a relationship like that has really allowed them to grow. Can we do anecdote time? Yeah. Sidebar anecdote time?
Of course.
They realized early on that they are dry cleaners, but what they are selling is not dry cleaning. What they're selling is looking good. That's a thing they're selling. What they're selling is saving your time. That's a thing that they're selling. So in the process, there's realizing the difference in the thing you make or the thing you offer and what it means to people in terms of an emotional benefit. And we live in a world where, so much advertising is just, here's the thing that we make and here's the price with it and you should buy it. The decision to purchase is more complex than that. And it's more base level than that. And they took a ride with us early on to stop talking about Sanitone certified dry cleaning and better starch, and start talking about the convenience of what they sell, or the benefits to looking good, or just frankly just having some swagger. Right now, I think they've been around 55 years, and the campaign we're running right now sort of talks about their history and all that kind of stuff in a fun way. So there's a headline in an ad that we ran. If you're on the south side, you might see this billboard, or you might be served this ad digitally. And there was an ad that said, "Where would we be without slobs like you?"
That's pretty funny.
And they're like, yeah, we don't like this headline. Not sure about it. And to their credit, they gave us some trust. They ran it. And they got, like on Facebook, like keyboard warriors, right? Had a couple like, this is terrible ad. It's terrible advertising. You demean your customer. Brilliant. Really smart. It's also the best performing ad that they ran in their campaign this year. It's led to multiple signups, right? So you have to say something of consequence. You have to run the risk of maybe upsetting a couple people who don't have a sense of humor. If you're going to spend your money doing things that are ignorable, if you look at your campaigns through the lens of like, could this possibly bother anyone? I guarantee you will do shite advertising. You have to do something that is that gets some attention. You don't have to be crass. You don't have to be obnoxious. And there's certainly a craft to it. But if you're not going to do something that's entertaining, don't do it, because advertising really it's the art of getting people to pay attention to a message that they would rather not hear. They're not there for the television commercial. They're there for the show. They're not there for the Pandora radio spot. They're there for the song. Advertisements are the sort of like, what is it? Is it lampreys that suck onto the side of a shark and go for the ride? They're just the things that tag along that no one really wants to see. But when you can make them like the message, when you can make them actually pay attention to the message, get some interest and some chatter, that's a pretty cool thing. So we're just advocates for don't do it if it's not going to be interesting.
What are some of the most iconic? It doesn't have to be work that you guys have done necessarily, but like when you think of national advertising campaigns, what are some of the most iconic campaigns that you've seen?
Old school, 60s Volkswagen ads, Beetle ads that revolutionized the industry. It was a totally different kind of ad. More recently, gosh, I mean, everything that, Apple does is usually pretty amazing because it's so on brand, right there. Everything they do is brand. The products themselves, the way they're designed, the way that plastic thing looks, the way it operates when you touch it and use it. And then
when you open the box,
right? Just the whole experience is on brand, and so that's one that's maybe the better way to ask the question is sort of what work makes me jealous.
Yeah,
that work makes me jealous because there's such attention to detail in everything, and then,
one of their best ads was it a Super Bowl commercial where it was like the standard alarm like went off. Like they played the alarm on the commercial spot, and I was freaking out looking. I was like, "Where's my phone going?" And then I looked at the screen, and it was that. And I was like, "Oh, those mofo's! They got me.
They're good." There was the Christmas spot where there was the teen was constantly on. I think it was a male. It was a kid's phone. He was on his phone, not paying attention to the family. And you're like, "Oh, this jerky kid is in his phone." And you realize the whole time he was cutting together a little video of his family to show them, for Christmas, and it was heartwarming. They get me, suck me in every time.
Okay, so Apple does good stuff. Are there other brands that you're jealous of, or just like maybe a specific campaign, ad, billboard, commercial spot?
Just one little ad I liked that we did one time. My son at the time was taking karate lessons, and he's like, whatever, 7 years old, and we did a little pro bono free ad for the karate place, just because, I like the guy that ran it and all that kind of stuff. And the headline said something about, "Let's see you disarm a bad guy with your piano lessons." And and the parents are going to invest in a finite number of activities for their kids. And none of those activities are bad. There's all kinds of there are good things that come from any of those activities. But we do the one that can actually conceivably save your kid's life, if they're mugged or whatever. And it promotes confidence, of course, and all that kind of jazz. And to turn that selling point into an ad that makes you chuckle, I like the simplicity of it, and it was a fun little ad. So that's one of my favorites over the years.
When you guys get together and you brainstorm, and you have the creatives all in a powwow, take us through like an exercise like that. Let's say it is a karate studio, and we were making an advertisement for the karate studio. What does that look like?
That business or any other business, our process is pretty much the same. How unprocessed can we make this? A lot of advertising agencies and marketers, I think, we have a little chip on our shoulders because we want to be seen as serious. We want to be seen as legitimate. We have worked so hard, I think, in error over the years to look like a science, like the science of branding and marketing and the research and the targeting and the hard numbers. It's not. If it's a science, it is a very soft science, especially on the creative side as you develop ads and ideate things. And knowing that, we just try to give ourselves some time to chase butterflies, right? To just sit with a problem and bat it around and play with it. And that's when ideas come from that place that you can't access on demand. At least I can't. Maybe other people can. But to just, have the time to just noodle on it, and get distracted, and let the back of your mind solve a problem that the front of your mind can't.
Okay. Well, as we go through this conversation, we're going to noodle on this advertisement spot, and I have a full campaign of how we're going to put this together.
Beautiful segue.
So we're going to noodle on the idea that Indiana needs to up its advertising game, like as the unofficial official chief marketer of the state of Indiana.
For sure.
I'm taking this into my own hands. So we're going to noodle on. The problem is that we need the greatest ad, 90-second Instagram, TikTok spot marketing the state of Indiana to people that don't live in Indiana. And then by the end of it, we're going to revisit this after we go through the rest of our conversation. And we're just like, you know what? You should make a video, Nate, about X, Y, or Z thing. And that's what we're going to noodle on for the last 25-ish minutes of our time together. Sound like a plan?
Let's do it.
So it's the state of Indiana. That's what we're going into. This is going to be fun. You start to grow. You start to get, more and more opportunities, jobs, employees. What was like maybe one of those keystone new accounts that gave a chance? Big brand comes and works with you all at the Flatland that you just crushed.
We do a ton of work for Delta Faucet Company, who's based here in Indianapolis, and we're the agency of record for their Peerless brand, which is one of a few brands in-house there. We've done work for Peerless, and we've been that agency of record for 7 or 8 years, I guess now. And that's been a fun one because it's put our work on a national and international stage. We've done a lot of work for outdoor and ag brands. I think it's my sort of appreciation for the blue collar way of doing things has resonated with certain agriculture, outdoor brands. We've done work for Lacrosse Boots, which is out of Oregon, of all things. Over the years, did a decent amount of work for them and some seed companies here in Indiana and in Illinois. Currently doing some brand work that I can't divulge details on.
Oh,
Top secret. For One America here in town, which is that's a huge company. Our approach is not to really think about clients big or small. What size is client is right for us. It's really about a mindset of a client who values our take on things.
okay. So we're going to dive into 2 topics here. First one, to the director of marketing or the head of marketing at a company that doesn't have the budget to go out and, work with an agency and like do the whole brand campaign, but wants to make a few tweaks to help, advertise better, get more eyeballs, get more customers. At the end of the day, that is how you grow a business, right? You got to have more eyeballs on your content and converting to sales. What advice would you give to that director of marketing on how to make an impact in advertising quickly?
Every situation is so different. We work hard to understand the specifics of any situation before we ride in, like do this and do this and do this. And that's actually why I was a little hesitant to come and talk to you today, because I feel like the last thing the world needs is another like brand expert who's just chock full of shit in reality out there.
This is how you grow to 10,000 followers next week.
So I'm really hesitant when it comes to like, join our panel or come talk to us and tell us how to do a thing, because I'd want to know more specifics about anyone's needs. But generally speaking, respect the audience. Don't tell them what they should think. Give them information that allows them to form their own opinion. A lot of small advertisers, maybe because they're doing it themselves, they're really talking to themselves. They're just throwing facts at you, or they're throwing benefits at you. And it's important for anyone who's advertising to understand that the decision to purchase, 99.9% of the time, it's emotional, right? The decision to choose A over B it's an emotional decision. And when you try to drive emotional decision making by throwing just rational argument, it fails. It feels like it should work because I'm telling people all the things they need to know. And maybe as they get closer to a purchase decision, they need some of these specifics. But as they are leading up to that moment, it's really about understanding them and giving them a message that entertains. I mean, that is truly the name of the game, is getting people to pay attention to a message that they would just rather not take the time to listen to.
I always say like the number one way to increase, whether it's like social media, and I specifically work within like video a lot, right? Like as the video guy, and like on LinkedIn, it's like the first thing is, I'm so-and-so, the CEO of this company you've never heard of. And it's like, there's your first 5 seconds of the video. I'm already not listening because I probably never heard of you. Or the people that are listening are probably just like your friends or your customers, the people that already know you. Like, oh, but it's like, if you just get right into like, you're struggling with advertising. I am struggling with advertising, Ben. Wait, tell me more. But then like, don't just like feed them a bunch of like, this is how you grow to $1 million next week, and give them something that's actually both entertaining, educating, like give them the content that they're here for.
The first thing you should do is have a great product. Great advertising, effective advertising can ruin your business if it drives people to try a product or a service that's inferior. So take care of your business first. Fix whatever it is in your product, your processes. If you make a thing, get the thing right. before you broadcast it out
Yeah,
there.
don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah. So I think that's a huge part of it. We've told a client or two to like maybe go back to the drawing board a little bit on some things and understand too that advertising is a component of marketing. Marketing is a bigger thing than advertising, and the advertising game's got to be right. If your product's right and the promotion or the advertising is right, but the placement is wrong, that'll blow things up.
Yeah.
So get everything in alignment. You can't ask advertising to drive sales when there are other elements that impede the selling process, right?
Yeah, like even so it's e-commerce or whatever, your checkout process is terrible, right? It's
Exactly. What's the user experience
You
like?
could drive 1 million people there, and if the credit card thing doesn't work, you're
Right.
screwed. So we do through that. How marketing team in-house can start to make some changes there. I think another big piece is social media. Like every CEO goes back to their team and says, we need to do better on social media. So they hire an intern, they do some dances on TikTok, they post like 10 of those. They don't work, they don't get any business, and they give up on it. Or the intern summer gig ends. How do you think founders should be thinking about social media as a form of advertising and how to really build their brand?
The first thing for me is this really important to you? I mean, if it's important to you, put your back into it. You can tell what's important to you because you get behind it with your efforts. And if this important marketing effort is handed to an intern and we don't provide any content that's meaningful and unique and compelling and on brand, then you're just contributing to the white noise. If anything, you're making the point that you're ignorable. It'd be better to just be silent than add to that gobbledygook mess. I think there's the mindset right now that's common that I take issue with, that social content is somehow separate from your brand. There are there are agencies that specialize in social alone, and God love them. There's a place for that. But my take on things is everything is brand. So if you are doing a campaign that looks one way and then you're totally in a totally different character in social media, then that's not helpful, right? Because then you don't seem to know what you're about. So understanding that everything you do is brand and being consistent in your message and hopefully consistent with quality is a key.
So people can have like such an illustrious, beautiful brand on their website, and then you go to their social media and it's like a janky Canva graphic or something.
And there's a place for that user-generated stuff. There's a place for that. We certainly have clients where we'll run a campaign and there's the television spot and there's the outdoor board and there's the radio spots and there's all the things, online advertising, and then there's the paid social content that we post that's finished. But we also will post, that's just the day-to-day Instagram stuff. And there's a place for it, but it needs to be handled with a little bit of finesse.
Yeah, and it just needs to represent your brand and your voice. I think some of the best, I think we've talked about this in the pod before, like Wendy's on social media.
Oh, so good.
Yes, so good. She is like a B word.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like playful and satirical and, mean kind of, which is funny. And it fits because they've just established that brand on social media. Are there any other brands that just crush on social media that you love?
Well, I guess I would consider it a brand, but National Park Service seems to do a pretty bang up job with their tweets and their social content.
Really?
They're pretty clever.
When you reappear in people's lives after inexplicably disappearing for some. Okay.
Yeah, they're just fun, but they entertain, right? They're just fun.
Maybe there was an intern who was really funny, and then posted, convinced their boss to let them post one kind of funny tweet, and it did really well. And then but now it's clear that they invest in this brand. If you're paying your $7.25 an hour or whatever intern to be the voice of your brand, that's not where your investment that you're making, right? You kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm here to beat up on interns. We were all an intern once, right? So it's not so much about who does it. It's just, I think, are we being thoughtful?
Yeah.
And a serious approach to marketing doesn't need to create serious marketing, right? It can be funny and it can be silly. It can be all these things, but I think you have to be serious in thinking about what are we about? What do we stand for? What are we going to say in the marketplace?
As you look through some of your proudest moments over the last 21 years, what would you say have been campaigns or moments with the Flatlands that you look back on with immense pride?
I take a certain level of pride in the work that we do because I want to produce things that I feel good about. I don't want to produce things that I just feel mediocre about. And I think we've developed a reputation for really good creative, and we've won the awards and all those things. But the moments that I take the most pride in, I don't know that it has to do with work, because the work is my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. But those above and beyond moments for me, I think it was keeping people employed and paid at their full wage during COVID. Something I feel good about as an owner. There's a couple times where we fired clients that I feel good about because making their money was not worth what we needed to do to make that money. We had some, I sure like your income, but I don't think we're a good fit for your worldview on how to market and how to, so we've stayed true to, and I don't mean like bad blood stuff. I just mean to tell somebody like, we have a different philosophy than you on how to do this stuff, and you'd be better served with someone else. You'd be happier with someone else, and we'd probably be happier if we went and found someone who believed more in our way of doing things. So staying true to the vision brings me some pride.
And I think that that's a big moment from being like a business owner. Early on, you don't have the luxury to do that. Early on, you can be pretty picky, but it's like firing a customer when you're like 1 year into your business is challenging, right? I think getting to a point where that really makes an impact in the long run if you stay true. You're like, you know what? I'm just not going to do that kind of work. Like, I'm big on this of like, you have to have a tie to Indiana if you want to work with us at Get Indiana. Like, we don't hire people that aren't based in Indiana. We don't have customers that don't have ties to Indiana. Like, we don't have advertisers. Like Dude Wipes can't come in. Sorry, Dude Wipes, but can't come in and be like,
just blew that deal.
Yeah, right. Totally. But it's like, well, if there's like Hoosier Dude Wipes, we're in. If you own Hoosier Dude Wipes, let's talk.
It's a slightly bigger wipe,
slightly
thicker.
Yes. There's so many ways you could go there for advertising. Yeah, but I do think that's important to get to that, and it will help you find more of what's right and what you like to do, and less wasting time on things that are wrong, even if it is like could be in the short term bigger amounts of money really quickly.
Sure. I don't think anyone running a business would say we're too good for this or we're too good for that. It's not about that, but understanding who you're best for. You certainly, we serve at the pleasure of clients. We have to do things to support their business, keep their business, and keep everybody happy. But hopefully it's tweaks, right? It's minor corrections. But you can't make yourself into a business you're not in order to keep one client.
Yep.
Over the years, we've just learned that we have a type of client that we're right for, and I've learned a lot about who we're not right for too, exclusively in the private sector. Right, we don't go after anything that's tax funded, state, federal, local. We don't respond to those RFPs anymore. It's just there are too many other factors in play when it comes to those types of businesses. We're best when we are working for a director of marketing or an owner at a company, big or small, who the goal is clear: grow this business. When the goal is no longer create successful marketing, create successful branding, when other things get in the way, and it gets political, tip of the old cap to anyone who wants to navigate that, I just don't. And I think the people, I would frustrate people who needed me to navigate that because I wouldn't be good at it. But when it comes to build a brand that grows our business, and do work that gets noted and makes someone laugh or feel a thing or believe a thing, that we can do that. We can do that.
We've come to a segment in the show. This is the Younger Years segment.
Oh boy.
Brought to you by our friends at Orr Fellowship. They're a great organization here in Indiana, helping develop young business leaders across the state. So Ben, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
I probably would say very little about entrepreneurship and growing a business. I would talk about the things that are more important to me, family, spending time with people. Those moments, you're not going to get them back. I might say, don't go after that. Don't do that RFP. Don't go after that pitch. Don't waste your time chasing this piece of business. Spend time with this person or that person, and understand that you're not going to be right for everybody. But the people that you are right for will really appreciate you if you're just clear and transparent about what you are and what you aren't.
Yeah.
and find, and just be comfortable with who you are.
And I think from like a business, like entrepreneurship standpoint, as well as like maybe you're looking for a job or a company, and like don't get allured in by like a fancy logo and a big salary, and find like who aligns with you. And everyone talks about core values, right? But it's like your actual values, like the team that you align with.
Core values, man. Can I tell a core value story?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nowhere at our firm will you find our core values printed out and hanging on a wall. Your core values, shouldn't we tell this to clients too? We occasionally get the request like, hey, take our core values and design them on a poster. We'll put them here in our boardroom. We'll put them in the conference room so everyone sees our core values. They should see your core values in everything you do. If you have to write them out, you're probably not doing them all that well, right? Like, sure, type them out and understand them and agree to them and talk about them, but live them. Living it is better than any poster you're ever going to create. They don't make a poster that's that big. Live them.
It's core in your core.
Right. That's funny. That's funny.
No,
That's the thing.
I definitely, especially when you're small and like you're nimble and it's like easy to be like, yeah, like we prioritize creativity or speed or whatever it is, and it's like live out your core value. They should know, like, man, you guys just work so fast. It's like, yeah, well, in the back of your head, you're like, oh, core value is speed, time to value, delivery for client, all the fun stuff. So I like that. That's a good one. It's like live your core values.
Yeah, we talk about them. When we bring in a new employee, we'll chat about them. At the core for us is being relentlessly creative. You could go through every page on our website. You will never see relentlessly creative written down. But I think you will see work that is creative. I think you will see, copy and headlines and designs and logos that were done by someone who really was working at it. And I'd like to think that you'd go to our site, you'd go to our office, you'd see us in a pitch, and you'd know that we're fiercely independent, kind of rebellious, we really value creative.
I love this guy in the suit just hitting the rower right here. Like, come on. And there's some funny stuff. Like
Thank you.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, now we've come to the part where I want you to take a peek at our brand. What kind of changes would you make? How would you market and advertise the state of Indiana, or building the brand that is Get Indiana, helping Hoosiers discover more about the Hoosier State?
I think that it's important to remember that logo, that type, that those colors, those things aren't your brand. And I would caution anyone away from thinking that's my brand. Here's my brand. Here's my brand. That's not your brand. Your brand is you. Your brand is sitting in that chair, and it is the way you make people feel, right? When you walk into a room, it's the way you handle your business. That's your brand. A brand is, at the end of the day, this thing that I feel. And the thing about brands is your brand, right, is not always in your control. I get to feel a way about your brand, right? And that's my decision to how I feel about you, what I think you're about. All you're doing is kind of guiding the message. You're trying to do things that keep it in its lane, right? And I don't think, I wouldn't pick apart, your logo or your type or any of that kind of thing. It looks good. It looks solid.
Hey.
But what I think is, and we can improve it. You can hire us. We can improve it. But I'm kidding. Yeah. It looks great. I think it's doing what it needs to do, and I like it. But the brand is what you do. It's the way you behave. It's the way you act. I don't mean you as a person, how you behave, but what Get Indiana does. That's brand, man.
That you just like reshape my whole perspective, because I did think, when you think like, oh yeah, I can take a look at our brand. It's like, oh yeah, they're gonna update our logo and our type and blah 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 blah. But it's like, no, it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that.
It's probably fair to say that's your visual brand, right? Which maybe is a component of brand. And this is where I hesitate to sound too lofty on this stuff, but it's real and it's important, and it's what we try to manage with our clients. Like there's a reason some of the ads that you're flipping through were funny. It's not because we felt like telling a joke, but it's because we want to be approachable. We want this company to feel approachable.
Yeah. If you were the chief marketing officer for the state of Indiana, what kind of campaigns, what kind of brand, how would you market the state of Indiana?
I would limit input. Focus groups, committees, multiple sources of input are where great ideas go to die. And I have certainly seen that in so many campaigns over the years, right? Well, Bob's a little concerned about purple. Don't make it purple. And Susan's a little concerned about this word. She doesn't like this. Change this word to that. Okay. And you go down the list and you make the priority removing any memorable component that someone somewhere didn't like. And what crosses the finish line for your ad campaign is the first thing that no one could complain about. What crosses the finish line is something that's just had all the teeth pulled from it. That's a way to make bad ads, to not be memorable. So that would be what I would do.
That is interesting. Like you're going to go through and by the end of it, it's like, oh yeah, you got the basic that didn't make anyone feel anything.
Well, it's a conversation we have on a regular basis, and our clients get it. Where we will be responsible for the performance of this campaign. We'll be responsible for everything that we recommend for you, if we have control over it. If we don't have control over it, I feel less able to take responsibility for how it performs in the marketplace. So I've always liked those odds where hire us, let us do our thing, and if it doesn't work, fire us. Speak ill of us all over town. But I think if you trust us and let us do our thing, this will work well for you. The version where someone hated us and fired us, it hasn't happened yet. It's been 20 some years. Maybe we're due. Maybe our number's up.
Maybe we're due. Final kind of question there before we get into our lightning round segment. Yeah. A big thing, obviously, I work with a lot of brands, is, creators and influencers and working with that. And I think a lot of brands reach out to me specifically based on a number. Like, hey, you have 60-something thousand followers on Instagram. They just reach out because of that. From both sides of the equation, me picking brands to work with and brands picking creators to work with. How do you manage that with your clients?
Well, that's a big question. There are certainly agencies who specialize in just that.
Yeah.
And sounds like you're seeing it all the time. It's on your side of the equation. To me, do you believe in the thing, right? Does me hawking this thing add to or detract from my credibility? Does it add to or detract from the credibility of what I'm trying to do with Get Indiana, right?
Yeah.
That'd be the simple question. And do you feel like it? Do you want to be the guy that sells stuff? Maybe you do, and maybe you don't. On the other side of the equation, we have clients that work with influencers, and choosing those influencers is tricky. And there are cautionary tales there, right? Because you're working with people, and if the influencer you're working with suddenly does some numbskull thing and gets himself or herself in trouble, and your brand is tied to that, that's a sticky situation. That doesn't mean don't do it. It just means be thoughtful in who you choose.
Yeah, work with a creator that has 2 years of content, repeatedly been respectful to all the brands that he works with. Creative, fun guy in the office content, but respectful.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, who would that guy be?
I don't know.
Can't think of anybody.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I do always say, one, you have to have the number. You want to get views, obviously. But if you just reach out to everyone that has 50,000 followers plus, it's noise to me. It's noise to whoever you're trying to work with. But if you really reach out of like, hey, I see that you're interested in running in the state of Indiana or tenderloins or whatever it is, we're in that category. We should talk.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the tenderloin category.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
Like, oh my God, I've had some reach outs where it's like, this is clearly a thing for kids, like there are parents with kids.
Yeah, you've got to look beyond the numbers.
Yeah,
and this is not a new problem, right? It's got a new label on it because it's which content creator is right for me. But we always thought about which magazine is right for me to advertise in, what channel is right for me to advertise on, what during what TV show do I want my commercial to run. It's placement. Placement has always been of critical importance, but placement has always been one thing in the algebra. It's been one variable in the algebra of what do we do to grow this brand. And I think new things, shiny things, get a lot of attention, and sometimes it's disproportionate. And that's a place where the industry is right now. We can get so in love with targeting, micro-targeting, retargeting that we forget to get famous in the first place. We chase sales, we chase fans instead of building a fan base and letting them come to us.
Do you have one final piece of advice for marketers and founders that want to get famous and build a brand that people want to work with?
If a client has some budget to actually do a paid media buy, right? Don't worry about waste. Waste is the price you pay to be known. We live in a world, in the marketing world, more and more, where we're so proud of micro-targeting based on geography, this zip code, this income. They are a fan of, as you said, Frosted Flakes and baseball, and we can micro-target that person, and you get known among a subset that is so small, but remain unknown in the broader conversation. And I like to build brands where I can get out in front of the need. When someone wants to buy a thing, let's say someone wants to buy it's a pocket knife. Instead of waiting for them to Google pocket knives and then serving them ads about pocket knives after they've started searching, be the brand that's known for being a great pocket knife before. Eliminate the need for a Google search, right? That to me is where the real value is.
And then they end up saying, I don't want a pocket knife. I want Ben's pocket knife.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want a pretzel. I want Ben's pretzel.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Absolutely.
I like that. It's a very long play.
It is, and it's expensive, and not necessarily not all of our clients have the money to do that. I mean, that's the ideal, and it's a mix. I recommend against all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah. Where if you're only known and you have to go win this customer today, it's like a lot of hand-to-hand combat. But if you're building where, like let's say you're a realtor or whatever, and it's like if you're only known by like current shoppers, and it's like, well, maybe people will grow in, or maybe people will like downsize out, and like you're missing these other targets of people that could end up buying a house from you or whatever it is.
I completely agree.
Cool, man. Well, we're down to the final part. This is a lightning round where we ask the same 3 questions to every guest who comes on.
Yep.
The first one is, what's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
IMS is awesome. Sports scene is awesome. But we as marketers for years have leaned into those things almost exclusively when telling the story of Indiana. And I think there's so much more to the story that we could get into. I'm a fan of those sort of the secondary stories around the state of Indiana. I think there's cool stuff that we have to show off that sometimes is overshadowed by the exciting things.
I mean, I feel like everyone does some type of 500 campaign, even if they're loosely not even attached to racing or anything.
And I'll be at the race again in May. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It's an exciting time, and it only makes sense that is something that we showcase. But it's so big that sometimes we forget that there's some cool other stuff around the state.
Well, this is where we get to talk about cool other stuff. You get to shed some light on something that more people need to know about. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
My favorite place in Indiana is my farm, but no one's invited.
You're not. No room.
No, I because of my background, I love where I'm from. I'm still able to be on the family farm where I grew up, and that's the blood and the sweat and the tears of ancestors in that ground. So it's important to me. So to honestly answer that question, that's my favorite place in Indiana. But a cool little thing you might check out. Have you heard of Hoosier Hill?
This is the high point.
The highest point in Indiana.
Yeah.
You do know you're Indiana. It is so Indiana. In that sense, I mean, it is understated. It's you drive. It's like north of Richmond. It's at the edge of a cornfield. It's there's like a gravel spot you can park on. It is so modest, and it's not, I don't think it's a state-owned property or anything. It's a county road. You drive up, and there's a picnic table, and there's a mailbox, and it's like, well, if you're here, tell us why you're here, and have a great day. And it's so
Yes.
it's so modest, and I wouldn't like cancel my Hawaii vacation to go there, but if you find yourself in that neck of the woods, I
Stop by.
I can't help myself. I always go by when I'm in that area because I think it's neat. It's so
all
humble.
right,
It's so humble.
I gotta the classic, the humble Hoosier Hill.
It's like, well, it's the highest place in Indiana, but
I mean,
it's
depends on how you measure it, right? Like,
right.
but
So it's very sweet.
But it's like the classic thing when you compliment someone, like, that's a really nice hat. And they're like, yeah, I got it on sale at Goodwill.
Yeah.
It was very
Like, don't be too proud of this.
Yeah, like, oh, like you did good too. Like that point's pretty high too. Like,
Yeah, so it's very Indiana to me.
that's funny. I love it. Final question. This is how we uncover new guests and just learn about interesting Hoosiers doing amazing things. Who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
There's an organization called Project Rouge here in Indiana, ROUJ, like French Creole for red. Indiana-based charity that we work with. We did all the brand work for, so full disclosure. It's an organization based in Indiana that builds homes in Haiti. And what I think is super cool about it is how they do the work. They don't send missionary teams to build homes. They don't send a plane full of people down there with hammers and nails and they build a house and then they fly back here. They change the economy of Haiti by taking your donations and then creating jobs for people in Haiti to build homes. So someone gets a home and a whole slew of other people get a job to build that home. They then have income to spend in that community. And rather than saying, here's your home, which is great, free home in Haiti would be great. But rather than doing just that, they spin up economies. And I think it is such, if we're tying this back into Indiana, it is, and it's an Indiana idea, right? Here's we're going to help you help yourself. We believe in you. We believe that your effort will make a difference here, and we're going to help. We're just going to give you the tools that you need in order to do something for yourself. So it's a group that we do a lot of work with. It's a group that we believe in, and I think they are pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think that, changing the community, right? It's like going in there and yes, at the end, the outcome is someone gets a free home, but then also along the way, it's like, but in fact, I think it said 15 to 20 jobs on the website, like 15 to 20 people's lives get impacted.
And beyond that, right? Because then they have money to go spend and buy other things. And it does change local economies. And even the people who get the homes, they have some skin in the game as well.
Yeah.
It's a charity that I feel good about and I'm excited to work with. And we've done a lot of work with them over the years.
Amazing. Well, Ben, thank you so much for coming on the show, telling us about the Flatland, telling us about your journey through advertising from, oh my gosh, Haiti's underground undergarments. Is that what it was?
Back full circle to Haiti.
Wow, there we go. Wow, come on, tied it all around there. It's not my first rodeo.
Yeah, man.
It's my second.
That's why you're the master.
But talking through your journey from, Pendleton farm ground to, running your agency and all the years and the fun work that you've done and some of the fun, edgy concepts I really love. I love getting able to look at an ad that and it's like, oh, I would watch that. Like some of the best creative where it's like, someone paid for that, but it's just so good. And I think doing work like that where I can't stop watching or I want to poke around on their website because it's cool, that's the best way to get ROI on whatever marketing spend you have.
Absolutely.
So thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. Keep up the amazing work. And next time we're out at the humble Hoosier Hill, we're going to have to stop by and write something down there.
Hit the picnic table, leave a note in the mailbox.
Heck yeah, man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.